What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 31 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I had a Texas native join me. His name is vØHn Beats. He is the son of producer S1. If you know who S1 is, he produced Power for Kanye. He produced some songs for Eminem. Man, too many artists to even name. But vØHn himself has been active now for around 10 to 12 years. I believe he gets into the specific number of years in the episode and everything. And I was happy to get him on the show today. He's a producer himself. He's worked with Lupe Fiasco. He's worked with Cash Page, Trey Capital, many other artists. So I wanted to kind of delve into, his journey as a producer, but also as an artist. And in this episode, he talks a lot about where he's at currently in 2020 and how he's kind of used, what's been going on around the world for him personally to kind of dial in on what he wants out of his career in general. And I found it very inspiring that someone who's accomplished as much as he has is still trying to figure out how to, kind of reinvent himself a little bit. He's very focused on his own music right now and songwriting and song structuring for himself and everything. And I really just enjoyed his stories. He talks about being in LA and now he's moved back to Texas and everything. He got engaged this year. He's just gone through a lot really in the last couple of years or so. And I think the moral of this whole episode is really just to, never stop trying to really just try new things. Even if you've seen success already, the path, especially in this industry, I feel like is always changing, and really the industry itself is always changing, and you got to figure out how to set yourself apart as much as possible and really have a unique approach to everything you try and do. So I appreciate vØHn, getting back with me about being on this episode, and I really enjoyed this one. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, welcome everyone to episode number 31 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today we have a Texas native. He's a producer. He's an artist. He's worked with Trey Cap. He's worked with Lupe Fiasco, Cash Page, many more. vØHn Beats, how are you, man?
Yo, what's going on, man? I'm great.
Yes, man. And like I said, I'm glad you got back with me about being on the show today, and glad we could finally make it happen after a few months. And you are the last guest of 2020, so
Yes, sir.
I think we're leaving off pretty good here. So to start us off, kind of just give those who might not know you a little bit of background about how you got started in music, kind of what your journey's been like up to this point.
Well, yeah, man, it's been a long journey, but I've been producing since I was 9 years old. About 9 years old, I got started through my dad, who was S1. And, man, just kind of kept going, and I always knew that I'd be in the field. Throughout the production career, though, I had a hard time getting people on my beats. So, I just kind of started demoing them myself. And then got into songwriting, and then kind of led to the artist thing. So, yeah, man, that's kind of where we're at now. Just trying to figure all that out.
I know, I've heard kind of similar stories from a lot of people that they got started pretty young, but I know, you for sure, it's been, very well documented. You've had, articles written about you when you were, 10, about you were in, beat battles, and you were, one of the biggest producers in Dallas, and you were only, that young and everything. So it's always, crazy to see that. And then, like you said, with your dad being who he is, kind of, must have given you a little bit of exposure with that as well.
Yeah,
but
most definitely. I was I've been around music my whole life, so it was kind of it was just kind of embedded,
mm-hmm.
just easy to pick up on.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna get into your journey as an artist here in a little bit as well, because I want to talk about that, and I think that's very cool that you're doing that also. But another question I've kind of been leading off every episode with is 2020's been kind of crazy for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So for you personally, whatever you want to share, what have you been doing in 2020 to kind of keep a level head and just keep focused on what you're trying to do in music, or maybe just your whole life in general?
Man, just kind of it's been a lot of time to think, It's been a lot of time to just really hone in on where I want to be and where I see myself. And because man, all right, so I moved back to Texas about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, I say. in July of 2019 because I was staying in Cali for about 3 years, and I felt like Cali was just like going into it. It was just like really exciting, and like I thought I was gonna have my big break or whatever, and man, it was just the complete opposite. It was just like it made me realize how much the industry isn't for me. And when I got back to Texas, it was just kind of like me trying to figure out, wow, do I really want to do this, or like like what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? How am I doing this? Like, man, it was just a lot of question marks. So like 2020 just was a year for me to practice. Once I figured out who I wanted to be and where I wanted to be, it was just like practice and like building to get into that point. So yeah, 2020 was just like a big lock in, and me, like I got engaged this year, man. I just started to practice, just practice a lot of things that I wanted to come to fruition. Like I wanted to live the lifestyle that I saw myself living, and not just have it try to make it come out of nowhere. Like I get that this music, that was a really big hard thing too. As far as like the music, it's a hard grind nowadays. Like there's so much exposure and or not exposure. There's so much accessibility to the industry, So like, there's so many people doing this now, and so many people coming out. Like, so much music has dropped in 2020 because nobody has nothing to do but work. But I felt like working. Like, I've been working my whole life. I've been working on music my whole life, and I felt like I was at a point where it's just like, like, is this it? I don't like this pattern, So it's just like I felt like I had to really like settle down and like just sit back, see big picture things. So that's really what 2020 was for me.
It's kind of interesting you mentioned that though, because I think like 2020, I feel like has shown me personally, like with the technology that we have and everything, and like you said, the accessibility. It's like it even no matter where you are, you can really make it happen. I think it's just what you said is just taking the time and figuring out why you're specifically doing it. So like for you, like you said, you've had placements, you've done all this stuff, but right now you're trying to figure out like what do you want personally out of this, and how are you gonna create like your own unique lane in music. And I think just being able to take that time to step back and be like, kind of assess your situation a little bit. That was probably like the best thing you could have done, honestly.
Man,
I feel like now you're gonna take what you just learned from that and kind of move forward with whatever you learned, picked up off of that, and just continue on like a brand new path. And it might be even better than where you came from. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of times, we all face like the discouragement, and kind of like every day you're like, man, like when is something gonna change? Like I'm not making enough money. I'm not doing this and that I thought I was gonna be doing. But I don't know. I feel like you said, I think it's a blessing and a curse as far as.
Sorry, cat, I knew he was gonna do something.
No, the cat is in the episode now. Okay, guys, if you're hearing this, there's a cat, and that was hilarious. but like I said, I think it's like a blessing and a curse as far as like the accessibility goes. It's just really about finding what kind of sets you apart from the rest. And I'm glad to hear for you that that's kind of where you're at, because I didn't know anything about like kind of where you're at personally and everything. But I wish you all the best as far as where you're headed, man, because I feel like that's super important, and I'm glad that you shared that, because I feel like people need to hear that sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, thank you. Because especially nowadays, man, it's just like, it's so easy to get caught in a spiral of, just trying to keep up, and it's like, it's a point where you're just like, okay, what am I keeping up with? Like, I don't know, some people just can kind of get lost in the cycle, but like, some people kind of stop and just like, hold on, like, what exactly am I doing? And I know for a long time, I know how I've kind of wanted to live. It's just like I never knew how, like, or exactly what I was going to be doing. I just kind of knew how I wanted to live, like, just like kind of like how my dad has always had his family, but kept the music close. I just want to a lot simpler life. You know, I'm not really trying to be here for a lot of the extra stuff, man. It's just not me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I respect that too, because like that goes outside of music in general. That's just like you deciding what you want for your life. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're taking charge of what you want. So
Exactly.
all respect to you, man. That's fucking awesome.
Thank you, man.
So specifically as far as what you're creating nowadays, I'm not sure what DAW you're in or what you started in or what you're in now. What have you been using recently as far as like what you've been making stuff out of?
Man, I gotta. Man, it's crazy because I've literally used Reason
Hmm.
for maybe like 11, 10 years of my career. 10, not like 12 actually, 12 years. I used Reason for 12 years, but Rance from 1500, I'm not sure if you're familiar,
Oh
but
yeah.
Rance
Yep.
finally converted me over to Ableton. He's been trying for years, and he finally got me top of 2019, I believe. So I've been using Ableton ever since.
Are those the only two you've ever been in? Or
Nah,
just no?
Machine. Well, actually, I was using Machine and Reason as like a kind of combo. But yeah, I've used everything except for like Cubase and like yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hmm.
I pretty like because it was a point where I felt like I was getting stagnant in Reason just because like I've used it for 12 years and I was like kind of I kind of dove into everything, so I was just like, I want to try something new and just like get uncomfortable, you know. So I picked up FL. I hated it, and then I picked up. I actually did try Logic a little bit. Hated it. Um, what else did I try? Oh yeah, and then Ableton. I think Ableton was the third one I tried. I was just like, yeah, this is more me. A
See,
lot easier.
I will accept the FL slander because it's you, okay? But I'm still only 4 years into FL, so I gotta continue with that just a little bit. But yeah, I'm not really familiar with Reason though. I might have to like dig into like that a little more because I know.
Man, Reason's super old school.
Is it really? I thought it like had a lot of new specs and stuff in it. To be
Nah,
honest.
definitely though. Definitely, it's definitely upgraded a lot. It just got a third party VSTs like 2018, I think, or 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but yeah,
I'm gonna have to
Reason.
check it out then.
The thing about Reason though, like that, a lot of people don't know. What makes them special is their like their stock stuff, like their
Hmm.
stock plugins, their stock like effects is just crazy, and it is. I don't know, bro. It's like literally, and like you have your racks, like man, you can really like make something you've never heard before,
Hmm.
and like people are just like that's why a lot of my stuff sounded the way it sounded, like early on in my artist career, just because I'd use a lot of the stock like delays and reverbs, and it's like, bro, how are you doing this? Reason,
Hmm.
reason.
Yeah, that's interesting because like even the producers I've interviewed so far, it's mostly been Ableton people. Actually, Ableton's probably been like the most response that I've gotten, and then there's a couple FL, and then there's a few Logic people. I think you're the first like Reason like user heavy though, so that's kind
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I meet probably 3 Reason users a year.
yeah. I might have to check it out eventually. I'm not at the comfort zone yet with moving out of where I'm at though, so I'll just
Yeah,
see what happens.
definitely,
But that's
definitely
pretty cool.
own FL. Like, cause there's not like I might slander FL just because I really don't like it, bro. The workflow is just not for me. But I know the people that use FL go crazy with it, and like when they really know how to use it, it's just like I'm like, how are y'all doing this? Like like I have the utmost respect for anybody that uses FL, just because like I can't do it. I
That
can't.
that's just like the to each their own type thing though. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like it just is what it is. So that's crazy though. So getting back into your artist journey, right? Like you being an artist. Let's talk about the song. You touched on your songwriting. You were trying to get into that more this year. Can you talk a little bit about how that process is for you so far as an artist, and what are the big differences between that and approaching it from a producer standpoint, or are they kind of similar?
Yeah, they're extremely similar for me. Just because I like I'm more of a when I started producing, it was always just like for the beats and like doing the beat battles. You know, it was like a lot going on in the beat, and then I transitioned to that point where I wanted to make songs. You know, so it's like a lot of more ideas. I started off just making ideas, and then that's kind of how I do with songwriting. Is just like I approach it as an idea, and then like just build around it as I see fit. I don't know. I just like trying different things, man. I can't. You have to see the process rather than explaining it. It's hard to explain.
I know they say like I've heard this as a producer too. Like they tell you to strip everything down. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
just said, like for a beat battle, you're trying to impress like the
yeah,
judges and everything, and you want all these drops and these like effects and things. But when an artist is trying to get on it, you want to like strip it down and make it simple.
exactly.
It's kind of like a revert. Like you wouldn't think that going in. Like I know when I first started, I was like, oh, you gotta make it sound like this. But then you find out from a lot of like the bigger producers and stuff, like no, if you strip it down and you make it as simple as possible, the artist can
Exactly.
do their. So for you as an artist, do you think like you're just doing that more with your own stuff too? Is just like you're simplifying it and it's helping you as far as writing and the song structure and everything?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Since from my first project, Journey to Pluto, man, I felt like, well, I didn't feel like when I dropped it, but the feedback that I kind of got, it just kind of told me it was a lot going on and it didn't have the repeatability. You know, like nobody's really gonna. It's more of an experience, you know, rather than something to listen to. You know, so I kind of took that and then made phases, which is a whole bunch of simple like ideas and stuff, and like saw that people like that more. So I wanted to find the best of both worlds, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Just the past few years, just been practicing that.
Hmm. We're gonna get into a little later about what you got coming up and everything as far as that goes. But as far as like just you being a musician in general, who do you think you came up on listening to? Who do you still listen to this day that
Oh
you'd say
man,
are some of your biggest influences?
ooh, man, ooh. I knew this question was gonna be asked, but it's always so hard when it's asked. Okay, so production wise, I have to start with my dad, of course. Jay Dilla,
Mm.
man, Jay Dilla is a huge inspiration, especially as far as drums go. Like he's kind of instilled a pocket in me to where I'm just, I don't know. um, Jay Dilla, um, say Knots. I grew up. I kind of it's crazy because like all my early on inspirations are like what older producers would say, you know, and it's kind of hard just because like there's so many.
Knots is like a sleeper. Like not a lot of people
Bro,
know
Knots is bro,
how
Knots
good he
is
really is. Like he did that song for Pusha T, that Alone in Vegas song. That's like my favorite Pusha
yeah,
T. That's like my favorite Pusha T song of all time.
bro,
That
Knots
shit's
is
so good.
crazy, bro. Like still till this day, like the stuff he did on Busta Rhymes album is crazy. Um, but yeah, man, there's a lot of people. Hot Tech, Ninth Wonder, P Rock, just oh Kanye, of course, as a producer and the artist. Um, man, yeah, that's pretty much the meat on the
Mm-hmm.
production side. That's kind of where I started. Like everything, like as a kid, it's funny because I did a lot of stuff with iStandard, and the Jay Hatch was one of the co-founders for iStandard, and he used to tell me all the time, like he's like, bro, like you're 12 years old. Why does your stuff sound so dark, bro? Like, lighten up. I was just like, man, that's all I listen to. But it kind of helped me though, like realize I do need to lighten up with stuff and just find a balance. But man, there's a lot of artists. I'm leaving off a lot of people. I know I am. Knowledge is a
Mm.
big one recently. And artist wise, Frank Ocean, Earl Sweatshirt, um, Jay Z, um, Rhapsody, Tyler, Man, there's a lot of artists I listen to, like Lucky. I don't know if you know who Lucky is. He's I forgot his full name or something.
Is it
But I think it's just
Lucky
Lucky. His
Day?
artist name is
Oh,
Lucky.
is it Lucky Day? Is that what you're talking about?
Nah, not
No.
well. Lucky Day's dope too, but
Okay.
nah, Lucky he's a rapper.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of all over the place right now. Just kind of like just trying to draw some more inspiration. Cause when I first moved to Cali, I kind of got like weird with my tastes and just wanted to try new things. Just cause I was tired of listening to the same old stuff. So I kind of got into a lot of alternative, classic music, electronic music, a lot of like stuff I wouldn't listen to. So like now that I'm back in Texas, I'm trying to like hone back in, to where I came from, and yeah, man, I'm all over the place with it.
Well, that's a pretty good wide variety though. Like even the producers too. Like that's a lot of names that I'm familiar with and everything.
Fly Low. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Flying Lotus.
He's up for producer of the year. Isn't he?
Yeah, bro.
Grammys.
That actually made me so happy. That was the best thing about this Grammys, for me, at least.
Yeah, I saw the nominations last week, and he was the only name I recognized out of that group. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, literally, literally. But yeah, no. When I saw that, I was like, wow, there's hope for me.
Now, is there anyone out of that list, or maybe anyone else that you'd ever want to collab with, either on a beat or a song or anything?
Man, Fly Low, definitely. I definitely want to collab with him. I want to collab with Baby Keem on a song. Baby Keem would be dope. But yeah, I mean, I want to work with a lot of people, man. That's it. All I do is work with people, so I'm definitely gonna touch most everybody at one point.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as far as like we said, you've been around the game now for a long time, like 10+ years, maybe more at this point. What do you think has been the best piece of advice you've been given as far as a music career goes? What do you think you've either taken and ran with? Like, who was that from? Do you remember anything specifically that you can share?
Most definitely. Two of them stand out just because they kind of go hand in hand. But Rhymefest kind of told me early on, and this is kind of why I took 2020 the way I did. But Rhymefest told me early on, he's just like, because I would play him a lot of my music, and he'd be like, man, like, we know you're dope, we know you have good music, but what is the music selling, Like, music is only going to be music, like, in order to sustain your life, the music has to have a product to sell. Like, what are you selling with the music, like, is it an image, is it a, this, a community, what are you selling, And, like, that, he literally told me that when I was, like, 14, 15, I'm like, that's a lot for a kid to think about, I'm like, what does that even mean? What do you mean, what am I selling with my music? My music, what do you mean? But, like, nah, over these past few years, or up to the years leading, I mean, like, a couple years after that, I met a guy named Mike Gow, and he kind of said the same thing in a different way, and it kind of made me look at it different. I'm like, whoa, okay. So, and he was just like, music is obsolete. Like, you have to be a creator nowadays in order to, like, really have a stand and, like, some longevity in it. And he was like, that's why he went to school for engineering, but he didn't really like it. But then once he found out he could, like, incorporate music into it, he started creating apps and, like, creating all these things that he can, like, do for music. And now he, like, has his longevity, So, like, I don't know, like, that just kind of put that entrepreneurial, like, perspective in my head to where it's like, oh, like, like, it's bigger than this, it's bigger than just this little playlist, And then I started researching Jay-Z, and, like, just how he started running his business and stuff and everything. I'm just like, okay, so that's where I gotta be at in my head. So yeah, that was definitely like some of the biggest advice I feel like guided me to where I am now.
I think that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, which is like you have to find out how to set yourself apart in some way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like there's so many people that make beats and there's so many people that are artists and things like that, but you have to present it. You have to figure out how to present it to your fans and your audience in the right way
exactly.
for them to be able to understand it and become a fan of
Yeah,
you. So,
presentation is
yeah,
everything.
especially like you said, there's more and more people every day like
Every
coming out
day.
being like I'm a producer, I'm an artist, I'm an engineer, but like why should anyone care about that if you have
Yeah,
nothing to bring to the table? So, I think that's like perfect advice. But like you said he told you that at 14, like if I was getting told that at 14, I would be like, "Could I just go play video games?" Like I don't care. So
like,
like
yo, what are you talking about? Sell the product,
like
man.
I would have been like, "Can I just finish my homework and play Madden?" Like I don't want to hear whatever you're telling me, but like that's crazy how like your journey has been going on for that long though. You've kind of like had the seeds planted and you're just kind of continuously like working off what you've already learned. So that's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah, it actually is like super crazy. I think about it all the time, just kind of like looking back and seeing how involved I was, more involved than people think in the industry, and just kind of like it's crazy to see that, and then look at now and how to myself I am, and like not a part of that,
Hmm.
and like just still taking what I learned though. And like a lot of things, it's crazy how many things have stuck with me because I didn't think they would, but I don't know. It's definitely been a journey, man.
Mm. Yeah, that's crazy. Um, so I only got a few more solid questions, and we'll just see where else it goes. But I won't keep you too much longer. Um, if you could go back 10 years ago, so let's say 2010,
Mm.
and obviously we know that your music journey was already getting going at this point. Is there anything you tell yourself, maybe advice you give yourself that you maybe didn't know back then?
Uh, nah, I don't think so.
No.
I think the ignorance was bliss,
Mm.
like cause me, I'm the type of person, if I don't know, I'm gonna ask,
Mm.
if I don't really know, like, I'm not gonna be that guy where somebody brings up something in the conversation and just like, oh yeah, I'm like, what's that? So I feel like that if I knew certain things, I wouldn't have received it how it was received, you
Mm.
know? So definitely, I don't think I'd go back and tell myself anything.
Mm. It's almost good sometimes to just let that play out, though. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
just let your
yeah,
life
exactly,
kind of play out how it's supposed to, because we're not always in charge of everything. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
you can't always dictate that. So that's kind of a good answer. I haven't heard that one yet. Um, so let's flip it though. In 10 years, where do you see yourself? Where do you think you want to be?
10 years, 10 years. Realistically, I'll be 33 in 10 years. So I'd say I see myself somewhere dealing with the board of education.
Hmm.
I honestly feel like the next 5 years are gonna help me catapult to a level where I can, start to seek that, and then that the following 5 years, just kind of, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna play out, man. But that's definitely a goal of mine, and that's where I'm shooting to be. So we'll see.
Hmm. That's interesting, and I wish you luck on all that, man, because that's super
Thank you.
awesome. Um, so we talked about you got music you already dropped. I know you dropped. Didn't you drop a few songs on SoundCloud the other day? Maybe beats or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I dropped a little playlist,
Okay.
just some songs, because I felt like I've been getting this little 6 month plan rolling,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of songs in the catalog that I knew weren't gonna see the light of day if I didn't drop them before I started dropping like the actual stuff.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to get stuff out just for me, like just to have stuff people can listen to and refer back to, and just some stuff that was going on through the growth process. Just practice songs, honestly.
Hmm. So in 2021, we can expect like a actual release?
Yeah.
Like,
Like 2021 is gonna be quite a year.
Are you thinking like album? Or are you thinking like no EP?
I don't want to say.
Oh,
I don't want to say. There's definitely an EP coming up very soon, like within the next couple months.
You thinking just you on it, no features, nothing like that, just yourself? Or?
There's a couple features, but they're just the homies. Like the homie Noah Rose will be featured on there, and Young Bijo the Sandal God. Just some homies I met in college, and like they've been like some of my best friends ever since. Just helped me kind of stay on the right path, and just been like good peers of just trying, just wanting to be different, and not even wanting to be different, just being different. Like I don't know, especially like Bijo, he's like on a different planet. So he's kept me kind of like, they're both kind of like helping me like bridge the gap,
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that, man, because like all the stuff I've heard just from you as an artist so far, I've loved everything. So
thank you, man. Thank you. That means a lot.
Seeing where that goes. So where are you at on social media? I know you're on like Instagram. Where can fans check out some of your stuff?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at vØHn Beats, VØHN BEATZ. Also on Twitter at the same thing, but I'm not really on Twitter. I had to delete the app just because it was so like top of this year, post pandemic. Twitter was just the most toxic thing in my life.
Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad sometimes.
I had to step away, man. And I haven't had the app since. So like, but I'll get on like every now and then on my iPad. I think I only got on once though. But yeah, I'm on Twitter as vØHn Beats, and on Clubhouse. I don't even know my name on Clubhouse, bro. I think I'm just vØHn though. What else? SoundCloud, you can give me a VØHN pop up. Yeah.
I think you're vØHn on Spotify and everything too, right?
Yeah, Spotify, VØHN on Spotify, Apple Music.
Awesome. I'll put all the links and everything in like the YouTube and all that stuff. So
dope.
That's dope. So any final words of wisdom for anyone listening today?
Man, I hate to be cliche, but just really be you. Like within everything, keep God first and just keep yourself. Don't lose yourself within this, because it's a lot of people that try to tell you who you are, and who you should be, but only you know who where you should go. So I just say like know who has your best interests. Keep a tight circle, and just stay humble, and just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey, man.
Well, Vaughn, that's all I had for you today, man. Like I said, I appreciate you getting back with me about being on the show. This was a great time. I appreciated all the stories and everything, and
of course,
hopefully we can do this again one day. I don't know, man. Maybe after the pandemic. I don't know, in person.
Yeah, man. Definitely. I'd love to, man. I definitely want to start doing more interviews. It's actually good. I don't talk a lot like to people, especially like this, and I feel like I should more, just because there's not enough people talking about the right things anymore. So definitely, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you guys for listening. That was episode number 31. Next week, I will be back here with Jay Trey, and we will have our 2020 end of the year review. We will be reviewing our favorite albums of the year, our favorite songs of the year, our favorite artist of the year. Really just a lot of different cool categories that we do. This is not an interview or anything like that. It's just kind of a break from the action a little bit before we move into 2021. And I did want to announce I'm probably going to do a few more. I have some other ideas lined up to do a few more different types of episodes in 2021 along with the interviews and everything. So we'll see what happens with that, and I'll keep you guys posted. But next week, like I said, it'll be our 2020 end of the year review. It'll kind of be a non-scripted thing. We kind of just go back and forth what we enjoyed about the year in music, what we didn't, all that good stuff. If you've been listening to the podcast before, the last couple years. I don't think we did it last year because we were kind of, I think we were at my house just kind of fucking around on New Year's Eve. But this year we're going to get back to doing it, and we're actually going to have it on, all streaming platforms and everything for everyone to hear, and it's a really fun episode. So until then, we'll see you next week, and thank you guys for listening.